यस, पार्टिसिपेंट से रिक्वेस्ट है कि को होस्ट और होस्ट के अलावा अपने वीडियोस ना ऑफ रखें। लास्ट में हम ओपन कराएंगे पार्टिसिपेंट से। फिर एक बार मेरी रिक्वेस्ट है कि वीडियोस आज ऑफ रखें अपने पार्टिसिपेंट्स। रिवर्स इंस्ट्रक्शन मुझे लगता है ले ली उन्होंने, ओपन करने लगे। वीडियो ऑफ रखना है सभी को। स्टार्ट करते हैं फिर हम। गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन। As you know, yesterday was International Women's Day, and today we are celebrating that day. And this day is celebrated on March 8th every year. अगर मैं इश्यूज की बात करूं इंटरनेशनल वुमेन्स डे पर, तो वुमेन्स राइट से रिलेटेड, चाहे वो जेंडर इक्वेलिटी की बात हो, रिप्रोडक्टिव राइट्स की बात हो, वायलेंस की बात हो, या एब्यूज अगेंस्ट वुमेन की बात हो, इन इश्यूज पे आपने काफी सारे डिबेट्स, काफी सारी पैनल डिस्कशंस सुने होंगे। आज का जो हमारा पैनल डिस्कशन का टॉपिक है वो है विमेन एंड सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट। डिटेल में आप पैनल डिस्कशन में जानेंगे इन सारी चीजों के बारे में। मैं वेलकम करता हूं अपने सभी पैनलिस्ट का। आज हमारे साथ हैं डॉक्टर श्वेता रानी, जो कि असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर हैं दयाल सिंह कॉलेज यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ दिल्ली में। सेकंड पैनलिस्ट हैं प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर तानिया गुप्ता। प्रोफेसर तानिया गुप्ता डीन स्कूल ऑफ एजुकेशन के आर मंगलम है, और प्रोफेसर तानिया गुप्ता ने काफी काम भी वुमेन एजुकेशन को लेके और जेंडर को लेके किया हुआ है। जो हमारी थर्ड पैनलिस्ट हैं डॉक्टर अनीता सिंह, शी इज हेड ऑफ द डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ एजुकेशन, सरस्वती कॉलेज ऑफ प्रोफेशनल स्टडीज गाजियाबाद। और हमारी फोर्थ जो पैनलिस्ट हैं आज की, वो है डॉक्टर प्रतिटा विश्वास कैलकाटा से, जो ईस्टर्न जोन प्रेसिडेंट हैं सीटीपीडी इंडिया के। अब मैं ज्यादा टाइम ना लेते हुए डिस्कशन को स्टार्ट करूंगा। मेरा जो पहला क्वेश्चन है डॉक्टर श्वेता रानी से है कि इन 21st सेंचुरी वी आर फेसिंग इकोनॉमिक, environmental and social crisis on a global scale. Despite this, attainment of gender equality has been equally very slow. अब यहाँ पर क्वेश्चन ये है कि इकोनॉमिकल, एनवायरमेंटल और सोशल क्राइसिस भी ग्लोबल लेवल पर हमको देखने को मिल रहे हैं, और जेंडर इक्वलिटी की जो ग्रोथ रेट होनी चाहिए थी, यानी कि हमें जेंडर इक्वलिटी को जितना जल्दी अचीव कर लेना चाहिए था, तो वो स्पीड भी काफी स्लो है। तो क्या आप इन दोनों चीजों में किसी तरह का कोई कनेक्शन देखते हैं, कोई संबंध देखते हैं? डॉक्टर श्वेता।
थैंक यू सो मच डॉक्टर संजय, बहुत ही वैलिड क्वेश्चन और आज के ट्रेंड में एक कंटेक्चुअल क्वेश्चन है। तो इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर देने के पहले थोड़ा सा जान लेते हैं वुमेन क्या है, थोड़ा एक आइडिया लग जाए। वी ऑल आर सेलिब्रेटिंग इंटरनेशनल वुमेन्स डे, तो थोड़ा ये क्वेश्चन एप्ट लग रहा होगा, बट मॉडर्न कंटेक्स्ट में इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट वी मस्ट अंडरस्टैंड द कॉन्सेप्ट, द कॉनोटेशन एंड द अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ दिस नाउन दैट इज वुमेन। सो वुमेन दे हैव सफर्ड फ्रॉम एयॉन्स, बहुत दिन से हम सफर कर रहे हैं, and that has given us infinite patience and infinite perseverance. We all agree to that. But now it is the time that we must realize that the idea of a perfect womanhood is perfect independence, and we must achieve it. So with this, a very warm good evening to the organizers of today's panel discussion, Dr. Sanjay, and a warm welcome to all my co-panelists. By Merriam-Webster thesaurus, that gives you a list of synonym for a particular word. I have just tried searching कि अगर women को हम thesaurus में देखें तो क्या-क्या terminologies आते हैं. बहुत interesting. Lady, female, girl, skirt, madam, gentlewoman, madam are the synonyms by which we recognize the most tender, elegant, and the beautiful creation of the God, that is women. So with reference to the first question posed to me as part of today's panel discussion that has been done by Dr. Sanjay, today's moderator, I would like to begin first by understanding what does the word women mean. It is made up of two words, woo plus men, that is equals to woman. So someone who woos a man, that means who takes care of a man, that is first, who marries a man second, and who completes a man. So don't you think someone who is nurturing and taking care of man who earns a high respectable position in the society, man who is marked with great valor and physical strength, completing them, don't you think itself is a much dignified role that we perform? And hence women ought to have been occupied the first position in the social stratification of the society. But alas, ये situation ऐसा है नहीं. World level पे, global level पे, there has been a rapid progress in terms of economy, in terms of society, in terms of environment. But कहीं ना कहीं कुछ lags, कुछ gaps वहाँ पे रह जा रहे हैं. And similar thing, on the other hand, we see कि gender equality की जो हम बात करते हैं, Sustainable Development Goal that has actually been lavished in 1985 by the Brundtland Commission. उसमें भी जो 17 goals है, goal number 5 focuses on gender equality. And since then, rapid strides have been made, but yet no significant result is there. So how do we define a woman? Women को define जब करते हैं, तो according to the new Cambridge Dictionary definition, बहुत interesting definitions मुझे मिले हैं, which I was actually searching for today's panel discussion. A woman can now be defined as an adult who lives and identifies as female. सोचिए situation ये है कि हमें खुद को identify करना पड़ रहा है कि we are female, despite having been said to have a different sex at birth. उसके बावजूद भी हमें अपनी identity prove करनी पड़ रही है. So moving on to the relation, थोड़ा सा हल्का सा concept sustainable development और फिर इन तीनों का relationship देखते हैं. So sustainable development depends upon, sustainable development is what? Development of the present generation without compromising the ability of the future generation. और ये किस basis पे हो सकता है? Only on an equitable distribution of resources for today and for future. So we all admit that. And this cannot be achieved without what? Gender equality. Gender equality is must. It is the base on which the entire scenario of sustainable development is dependent. So here comes women empowerment, and it is a key factor for achieving sustainable economic growth. That is one of the aspects. Second, social development, that is society, and third is the environmental sustainability. So here comes the first question जो Dr. Sanjay ने pose किया कि एक तरफ हम crisis देख रहे हैं, economy, society and environment, and on the other hand, gender equality भी उस level पे नहीं है. Why? Because women का वो equal representation नहीं है. Women को वो level of achievement नहीं मिल पा रहा है because of that, and there is a perfect relationship. So without a second opinion, what I believe that in the 21st century, we are facing economic, environmental and social crisis on a global scale. बहुत ज़्यादा rampant. Economy, society and environment, in fact, what I feel are the three interrelated facets of development in modern era. That means development of any economy, be it urban economy, be it rural economy, be it the developing world or be it the underdevelopment world. जो तीन पैरामीटर है जिसके ऊपर वो रेस्ट करता है वो है वहां की सोसाइटी, वहां का इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ and वहां का overall environmental sustainability. So one of the major reasons what I feel in these forefront is due to the underrepresentation of women chunk at the global scale. And there appears to be a very strong connection between these two trends. The representation of women in social, economic and environmental aspect is the barometer. जैसे thermometer होता है ना, body के temperature को नापने के लिए, and it gives you an indication तो किसी भी सोसाइटी का ओवरऑल ग्रोथ ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ इट्स इकोनॉमी, ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ इट्स सोसाइटी एंड एनवायरमेंट, इफ यू हैव टू मेजर, the first indication, the first barometer is how much the women of that economy, of that region, of that society has been absorbed, या फिर they have been taken as a part in the decision making process, and it provides you a barometer of a society's growth and development. But in today's world, it's a harsh reality to accept and admit that attainment of gender equality at global level has been very, very slow, despite some very innovative policies demanding and focusing on their equal representation. Policies आ रहे हैं, demand भी कर रहे हैं, but world level पे या फिर जब उसको हम on paper पे है, on practice पे जब बात करते हैं, there is a gap that has to be bridged up. So out of the three wings and platforms of development, let's explore the social aspect, the economic aspect, and the environmental aspects separately, one by one. So the first I have taken is women and society. How women and what is their status in the society, और अगर society में उनका जो status है, उसके कारण उस economy का social development क्या है? So over the years, women have continued to speak out for policies and practices. We have been doing that do not threaten the health and well-being of future generation. We are keeping this in mind also. We also continue to fight for improved living standards and protection of the environment. And this is not only in India, in almost all the countries, be developing and developed, women are disproportionately represented, and we are among the poor sections of the society. जब आप कोई form fill up करते हैं, a very valid question that I would like to ask all of you, उसमें जो categories आते हैं, बहुत बार ऐसा होता है ना फॉर्म फिलअप करने में, if you belong to the SC or the ST category, or if you are belong to a women category, you are exempted from making fees. आपको फीस नहीं देना है. क्यों नहीं देना है? If we are women, are we different from men? So in most of the countries of the world, we are represented among the poor sections of the society. This is a harsh fact. और जिस सोसाइटी में आप वुमेन को पुअर सेक्शन में डालेंगे, वहां पे डिसीजन मेकिंग प्रोसेस में आप उनको नीचे. हाउ कैन यू फील कि सच अ सोसाइटी कैन डेवलप ऑन द एस्पेक्ट ऑफ सोशल, such a society can develop on economic aspect, and more importantly on environment. And this is not something that I have been telling, I have found it in the studies. The studies have found that poor in urban and rural areas of rich and poor countries bear the greatest burden of environmental degradation and pollution. Poor को इस category में डालते हैं, and we women are a part of that poor community. So definitely we are also that. Women share the primary responsibility for nutrition, childcare, and household management in almost all the countries. इतना important role हमारा रहता है. We are also active in environmental management, and in most developing countries, including India, अभी तक हम वो developed के phase में नहीं आए हैं. So still I am treating it a developing country. Women play a major role as farmers, animal tenders, and water and fuel collectors. Yet, despite our roles, we are not adequately represented in decision-making process related to issues of environment and development, be it local, national, or international level. And this is the first valid point that I would like to make. जिस society में अगर social aspect पे आप women को under represent करेंगे, वो society कभी भी global level पे it cannot achieve that forefront, and it will definitely face some issues related with the social front. Now, coming back to the next point, as far as economy is concerned, क्योंकि तीन aspect पे अभी focus करना है, society, economy, that is social, economic, and environment. When we talk about economic aspects and women, I have related both of them in context of poverty, women and poverty. And it is very interesting to note that more than 1 in 5 people around the world, अगर वर्ल्ड में हम 5 इंसान ले तो हर 5 में जो एक इंसान है, it live in conditions of extreme poverty. और extreme poverty हम किसको कहते हैं? Living on little more than $1 per day. अगर आप $1 per day से थोड़े ऊपर पे आपका per day का existence है, then you are living under acute poverty. And unfortunately, we are among them. We have been made among them. And in all the developing regions except East Asia, जिसको थोड़ा सा हम develop मानते हैं, developing में compare कर रहे हैं, तो East Asia is somewhere much more developed. The number of poor people has been rising since 1980. And it is also to be noted that this gaps between the rich and the poor, rich and poor ke beech mein jo gap hai, rich, they are riching, they are growing, they are becoming rich day by day, and poor are becoming poorer day by day. This gap is actually widening, and the majority of the world's poor, we all must accept, it has been proven, are none other than women. So आपने यहाँ पर भी women को poor मान लिया. Since 1970s, the number of rural women living below poverty line has increased by 50%. और इसी को जब आप उनके male counterpart से compare करेंगे तो आप देखेंगे उनका जो proportionate increase है, it is just. So there is a stark difference in their per capita availability. जैसे ही उनको poor category में डाल दिया गया, it has been a notion that these poor people cannot have their bargaining power, they have a weak bargaining power, hence decision-making process may they cannot be very good decision. So this perception has to be broken. Women accrues less income than men over their lifetime for a variety of reasons. What today I am going to tell you, and hum sab is cheez ko manenge. It's a fact. They get paid less for the same work and more likely to work less in order to reconcile their careers. Why? Because we have been entrusted with the duty of child care or the elder care. Hum sab working women hai and we face this scenario and we just do compromising situation. A glaring truth that we all face and we all must admit. Now, these gaps in women's employment history reduce almost the amount of social security that we women actually demand and we actually get. It also decreases the likelihood of receiving credit or loans. Face karte hain hum is cheez ko. All these fact increases women's vulnerability to poverty, especially in the old age. So in सारे criteria के कारण भी कहीं ना कहीं we are actually contributing a little less to the gross domestic product of our nation's growth and development. और शायद इसीलिए हम लोग को उस category में डाल दिया जाता है. So hence I believe that government must introduce policies, programs and quota system which correct this imbalance. अभी आप बोलेंगे कि बहुत सारे ऐसे policies तो आ चुके, parliament में भी reservation है, even jobs and employment में भी reservation है. Yes, I'm not denying that. There are policies, but how much these policies is in actual practice? That is a question to be answered. ये question बहुत pertinent है, especially in the context of India. Now, let me move to the third and most important aspect, that is the environmental aspect.
श्वेता पे थोड़ा टाइम का ध्यान रखिएगा. 5 to 7 minutes.
जी सर, बस 1 मिनट और.
ना फिर बाद में फिर चीजें ना डिले होंगी कुछ.
जी सर, बिल्कुल सर. So when we talk about women and environment movement, two things that I would like to focus. That we women took active part in the Rio Earth Summit that actually took place. And we succeeded in obtaining a chapter on women and sustainable development, and over almost, you can say, 100 references and recommendations pertaining to women in their final agreement agenda जो हुआ था 1992 में जो रियो समिट हुआ था, उसमें 1993 ह्यूमन राइट्स कॉन्फ्रेंस, 1994 इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑन पॉपुलेशन डेवलपमेंट, मेनी अदर रिलेटेड कॉन्फ्रेंसेस, उसमें फोकस पॉइंट वाज वी वुमेन. And in fact, we women are considered as a major group. What I am telling you, मैं आपको ये सब चीजें क्यों थोड़ा सा recapitulate कर रही हूँ, in order to make you understand that studies have been there, world का focus है, attention है, और उससे related like rules, regulations, policies आ रहे हैं. लेकिन जो क्वेश्चन है, अभी तक जेंडर इक्वालिटी हमने अचीव क्यों नहीं किया, और उसके कारण जो वर्ल्ड लेवल पे क्राइसिस फेस कर रहे हैं हम सोशल, इकोनॉमिक एंड एनवायरमेंटल एस्पेक्ट में, इट्स ओनली बिकॉज इन द फाइनल प्रैक्टिस, इन द एक्चुअल वर्कआउट, वी आर स्टिल अंडर represented. So despite their underrepresentation, women are breaking the gender barrier and achieving a historical forefront. Just two examples. Their outstanding contributions are always remembered and admired. If we take the name of Junko Tabei, the first woman to climb Mount Everest, we all remember. Valentina Tereshkova, the first women, not astronaut, cosmonaut that went to space. So what are the things that we actually, women, demand from government? Three things. Women are calling for gender sensitive research in this area. इससे क्या होगा? Increased access to resources, land, credit system, education, technology, and information, so that we can participate equally with men in key decisions that affect their lives and all life on planet on Earth. We also raise demand that government establish new forms of economic accounting to women's unpaid work and promote public policies. And third and most important, since we have expertise, we have knowledge, and we have that perspective that have been overlooked for years, we are now demanding that our voices must be heard. It recognizes that an integrated approach to sustainable development is necessary since political, economic, social, and amalgamation of all environmental issues are closely interlinked. So with this question, with this hope in mind, I would just pass on to Dr. Sanjay. Thank you so much, Dr. Sanjay.
थैंक यू सो मच श्वेता मैम, काफी नॉलेजेबल चीजें थी और आपकी बातों में कुछ चीजें यूएन की जो रिपोर्ट्स को मैं देखता हूं तो पॉवर्टी को लेके जो गैप है, अगर हम जेंडर के बेसिस पर देखें तो वो एक काफी अच्छा खासा नजर आता है। इवन अगर हम ये देखें फाइनेंशियल एस्पेक्ट में कि जो बैंक में अकाउंट्स होने चाहिए, अगर फीमेल और मेल को कंपेयर करें, मैं यूएन रिपोर्ट्स की बात कर रहा हूँ, मैं जनरल बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, कोई भी ऐसी बात ओपिनियन वाली, तो उसमें एक अच्छा खासा जो गैप है वो नजर आता है। अब इसी का एक और एस्पेक्ट है कि अगर हम 50 इयर्स या 100 इयर्स बैक जाएं तो आमतौर पर मतलब एक परसेप्शन था कि जो मेल मेंबर है उसका काम घर से बाहर जाके काम करना और फीमेल्स को हाउस मैनेज करना है। उस फिलॉसफी के साथ जब इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन भी आया, फिर वुमेन ने भी बाहर निकलना शुरू किया, तो जो वर्किंग प्लेस है एक मेल डोमिनेटेड सोसाइटी में अगर मैं देखता हूं आज भी, तो काफी हद तक वो मेल वर्क मॉडल्स हैं, मतलब वो फीमेल फ्रेंडली वर्किंग प्लेस या वर्क मॉडल आज भी नहीं है। कुछ मल्टीनेशनल कंपनीज की बात करें तो वहां पर कहीं कहीं नजर आते हैं, लेकिन आमतौर पर एक आम इंसान के लिए उस तरह के एक वर्किंग कंडीशंस या वर्किंग मॉडल होना चाहिए फॉर द वुमेन, वो नहीं दिखाई देता। जो मेरा जो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है वो प्रोफेसर तान्या गुप्ता से यही है कि मेल वर्क मॉडल्स आर फेल्ड टू एडजस्ट द नीड्स ऑफ द वुमेन at workplace. How do you see this? Professor Tanya.
Good evening, Dr. Sanjay. Thank you so much. First of all, it's a pleasure to be a part of this panel discussion today. And let me congratulate Saraswati College of Professional Studies for spearheading this panel discussion along with the CTPD India. To all the panelists on screen and all the participants. Dr. Shweta, अभी आपने कुछ issues को raise किया, which were also fact based, and जो अभी सर ने statistically भी बताया है, अगर हम UN की reports देखें तो उसमें ये काफी evident है कि women somewhere do lag in terms of their economic empowerment. So आपने एक सवाल पूछा कि जो जिस तरह के वर्क प्लेस में मेल मॉडल्स हैं, तो क्या वो एक तरह से फीमेल्स की रिक्वायरमेंट्स या उनकी जो नीड्स हैं उन्हें क्या पूरा कर पाते हैं या नहीं। मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि शायद ये इतना इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है डिबेट करना कि male model is better or an exclusive female model is better, because I feel being a woman myself personally, in my own career, I have never seen any form of a discrimination as such in the workplace. मुझे कभी ऐसा environment नहीं दिखा जहाँ पे कोई एक बहुत ही typical male model हो और जहां मैं कोप नहीं कर पाई। बट क्योंकि हम एक लार्जर कॉन्टेक्स्ट में जब हम बात कर रहे हैं, वी आर नॉट टॉकिंग ऑफ सिटीज एंड मेट्रोपॉलिटन, एंड हम क्योंकि सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट के ऊपर बात कर रहे हैं, और सभी हम जानते हैं कि 17 सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स हैं, जिसमें से अभी डॉक्टर श्वेता ने भी बताया कि सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल SDG 5 इज ऑन जेंडर इक्वालिटी एंड इंक्लूजन। और साथ ही ये फैक्ट है कि अगर आप वर्ल्ड पॉपुलेशन देखें तो 50% ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन इज विमेन। सो दिस इज understood that if we want sustainable development, if we want growth across the globe, women have to participate equally. But ये एक सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल 5 जेंडर इक्वालिटी का लिया हुआ है, क्योंकि फैक्चुअली अगर हम देखें तो आज तक हम इस इक्वालिटी को अचीव नहीं कर पाए हैं। जब अलग अलग स्ट्रेटाज में बात करते हैं, रूरल विमेन की बात करते हैं, अर्बन की बात करते हैं, अक्रॉस नेशंस बात करते हैं, अक्रॉस कैटेगरीज, एथनिसिटी, अलग अलग तरह की कैटेगराइजेशन में जब हम बात करते हैं तो चैलेंजेस हैं, certainly challenges हैं. So a personalized opinion I don't think will be very fair, but हाँ, आज अगर हम 21st century में हैं और हम कहें कि completely जो models, workplace models हैं वो completely मेल नीड सेंट्रिक है, वो शायद मेरे हिसाब से कहना गलत होगा। शायद ये इतना इम्पोर्टेंट मुद्दा नहीं है कि हम डिबेट करें इस पे, बट हाँ ये जरूर है कि विमेन की पर्टिकुलरली कुछ स्पेसिफिक नीड्स हैं, और वो क्या है। जब हम एम्पावरमेंट की बात करते हैं तो एम्पावरमेंट is understood by me as an individual and also given by the UNESCO and the United Nations by and large, जहां पर लोग अपनी informed choices कर सकें, अपने decisions ले सकें। So beyond social empowerment, beyond legal status that we are providing to individuals, it is also very important कि women become strong economically, because जब आप अपने financial assets को, अपने resources को manage करना सीख जाते हैं, अपने you can exercise your control over finances and financial assets, तो वो एक अपने आप में बहुत ही empowering situation होती है। इसलिए इतना ज्यादा फोकस एम्प्लॉयमेंट के ऊपर है, इसलिए इतना ज्यादा फोकस विमेन लेबर फोर्स में पार्टिसिपेट कर पाए, ये एक कांस्टेंट फोकस है, ग्लोबली एक फोकस है। बट साथ साथ ये भी एक चीज है, अगर हम OECD की रिपोर्ट्स देखें या मैकिंसी की रिपोर्ट्स देखें या यूनाइटेड नेशंस की रिपोर्ट देखें, तो उसमें आज भी एविडेंट है कि 50% से ज्यादा जो महिलाएं हैं पूरे विश्व में, वो लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन में नहीं आ पाएंगी। इट इज जस्ट अबाउट 50%। अगर हम विमेन एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की बात करें तो वो वर्ल्ड में 20% से ऊपर नहीं है। कोविड एक ऐसा पीरियड आया जिसके अंदर बहुत सारी महिलाओं ने, पुरुषों ने भी अपनी जॉब्स खोई, बट महिलाओं ने खास तौर से एक अलग तरह से सिचुएशंस का सामना किया। So what is happening is कि जब हम empowerment की बात करते हैं तो हम ना एक completely एक woman angle को ही देखते हैं, हम मेल्स के एंगल्स को भूल जाते हैं। रोल स्विचिंग एक्चुअली हो नहीं पा रही है। लिबरेशन जो हो रही है या एम्पावरमेंट जो हो रही है वो विमेन साइड से हो रही है, बट विमेन, एज डॉक्टर श्वेता सेड, they are still considered and their foremost responsibility is as caregivers. वो उनके साथ एक जिम्मेवारी है, एक responsibility. So they have to work at home, they have to be nurturers, and they have to make lot of choices, sometimes by compulsion and sometimes by their own choice also, कि वो breaks लेती हैं अपने करियर में, जैसे बच्चे पालने हैं, बच्चे छोटे होते हैं या कोई भी कारणवश से they take and sometimes they don't accept challenging jobs or demanding jobs क्योंकि उनकी आइडेंटिटी इस तरह से that they have to be caregivers. अब सडनली एक बहुत अगर अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटी कहीं आती है where they can lead in positions, even women leadership comparatively poor है अगर आप ग्लोबली देखें। The first question that comes in every woman's mind is that she will try to create a comfort zone for her family first. Unlike men who can take it as a easy decision to move from one place to another. ये एक women के सामने एक challenge आता है। Workplace environment जो है वो कंप्लीटली मेल फ्रेंडली तो नहीं है, बट विमेन फ्रेंडली और हो सकता है। वो ऐसे हो सकता है कि जो डिमांडिंग जॉब्स हैं और जहां पर स्ट्रेच्ड वर्क की रिक्वायरमेंट है, खासतौर से कॉर्पोरेट में नहीं, मैं टीचिंग में भी देखती हूँ कि यू नो व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग ऑफ इक्वल पे, व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग कि आपका स्टेटस इक्वल हो गया है, तो हम एक्सपेक्टेशन रखते हैं कि फिर आप अपने सारी पर्सनल चीजों को घर रख के आइए एंड यू शुड बी कंप्लीटली ऑन यू नो ऑन द रोल equal to the men. That's perfectly fine. But then we know at the back end, every man who is, you know, back home doesn't have to really cook. By and large, doesn't have to cook. By and large, doesn't have to raise kids. So there are fundamental responsibilities which even women who are in leadership or they are in very high positions, they will have to perform. So we must have some enabling situations, अगर मैं इसको put up करूं, existent setups में ये जरूरी होगा कि हम इस तरह का environment create कर पाएं कि women के पास opportunities हों कि वो maybe sometimes, you know, there might be situations where they may require work from home as well. There may be situations where they can be given some career break. There can be situations where there can be daycare centers and crèche for the women कि बच्चे उनके वहां पर वो safe feel कर सकें कि बच्चे उनके साथ हैं। And कुछ इस तरह की you know expectations जो उनके साथ होती हैं कि वो demanding roles नहीं ले सकती या leadership roles नहीं ले सकती because ये इतना exert नहीं कर पाएंगी। That kind of mindset has to change, and I think we have to give a more understanding and an enabling environment कि वो अपनी families को भी साथ में देख सकें और आपके challenging roles को भी ले सकें. So if I have to really conclude, my viewpoint is that if we see it globally, male-dominated work environment, I don't think really as such exist करता है आज के time में, but हाँ उसे आप और थोड़ा एम्पैथेटिक बना सकते हैं जहां पे विमेन के लिए थोड़ी फैसिलिटीज, थोड़ा केयर, थोड़ा कंपैशन को आप ज्यादा इन्वॉल्व करें. एक पॉइंट मैं यहाँ जरूर कहना चाहूंगी, कई महिलाएं जो होती हैं अपनी जॉब्स छोड़ती हैं या सकम कर जाती हैं टू सर्कमस्टेंसेस बिकॉज ऑफ सर्टेन हैरेसिंग एनवायरनमेंट्स. वर्क प्लेस, खास तौर से वर्क प्लेस पे बहुत तरह के हैरेसमेंट विमेन फेस करती हैं. फिजिकल हैरेसमेंट होते हैं, मेंटल हैरेसमेंट होते हैं, डिस्क्रिमिनेशन है, सेक्सिस्ट रिमार्क्स होते हैं. इस तरह की चीजें अगर हम एनवायरनमेंट से हटा सकते हैं तो शायद थोड़ा सा महिलाओं के लिए माहौल थोड़ा एनकरेजिंग और हो सकता है कि वो अपने करियर्स को परस्यू कर सके. सो दिस इज व्हाट आई फील सर. या
थैंक यू प्रोफेसर तानिया. एक डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव में आपने इसको एड्रेस किया, लेकिन बाद में कुछ चीजों को फिर एक इंक्लूसिव अप्रोच के साथ, चाहे क्रैचेस की बात की हो या सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट के इश्यूज को लेके, कि उस तरह का वर्किंग एनवायरनमेंट मिलना चाहिए जहां पर कि वो सेफ महसूस करे. मेरा जो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है थोड़ा सा सोशल एस्पेक्ट से है कि ग्लोबली सम प्रोग्रेस ऑन वुमेन्स राइट हैज बीन अचीव्ड, इवन child deserves to reach her or his potential, but gender equality in their lives is a big reality. Dr. Anita Singh से मेरा next question है इससे related कि how do we go about breaking down barriers that hold women back from the discriminatory laws to an unfair share of home or family care? Dr. Anita ma'am. मैम आपका स्पीकर, हाँ जी प्लीज.
Am I audible now?
Yes ma'am, audible.
I just heard views of Dr. Shweta Rani and Professor Tanya, and they have given their wonderful views on the different aspects of women, and I do agree with both of them at various levels. Talking about discriminatory laws and unfair share of home and family. So talking about the discriminatory laws, what I see today, I would state a few examples here to clarify my point, that women are yet to be aware of the laws for them. I will prove this by giving an example. Today, I was having lunch with somebody in one of the prestigious clubs of Delhi, and I just happened to mention to her, okay, how do I get the membership of this club? So she was telling me how they give the membership. This was a very prominent club right in the heart of Delhi by the name Chelmsford Club. She has been a member for quite long. In fact, her father was the member and then she became the member. So she was telling me that even today, the membership cannot be passed on to a daughter. They are two sisters. They don't have a brother. So she had to buy the membership of that club. So that is the kind of discrimination we see. So I was amazed to see that. Another example I can give you, which I heard about it today only. She's also one of the directors of Jaipur Golden Hospital that belonged to her grandfather. And when it came to passing on the heritage passed on to her, but she could not become the working director of that hospital. So what she did was, she searched for the laws, she found out the laws, fought for it in the court, and today she has become the working director of that institute. So we have to be aware of our laws, which most of the females, I think, are not aware in general. How many of us, even the educated lot who are there in the society, how many of us are aware? I think that percentage would be very less. So we have to be aware of those laws. Once we are aware of those laws, then we can utilize them as and when the opportunity arises. As I talked about this friend of mine, her name is Rajni Bhalla, and you can see her as the working director if you Google it in Jaipur Golden Hospital. So this is one point which I wanted to emphasize regarding the discriminatory laws. Now coming to unfair share of home and family. Now, family always plays a pivotal role in everything. I think all my audience will agree to this particular point. Now, here is where actually is the root cause of the problem, I feel. The inequality that we talk about regarding women starts there. It has a root there. See, families, we will agree that they are the primary agent of gender socialization, and often provides children with the first source of information and learning about the gender. We learn from our parents, we learn from our caretakers, we learn from our other extended family members about difference of gender. So where it begins. And I think the whole solution lies there. If we are able to parent properly, then we can completely eradicate this gender equality. Now, coming to the different inequalities that you see in a family, you will find there'll be uneven access to education. The girl child is preferred more than the boy. Even if you see the poor medical care in certain families, more medical care is given to the male than the female. Then there's job segregation. There are certain jobs only boys can do, whether if it is the painting of the house or maybe the cleaning of the car or taking the car for servicing. Certain job errands are only given to boys, and the girls, they're given the household chores. They're supposed to do that. There is where the gender bias actually begins. It begins at home. So if I sum it like this, that the devaluation is beginning there, the abuse without redressal is again over there, and the deprived lot of the women starts there. So parents teach children their place in the world. Women are not perceived more valuable than the boys. Their families want to invest more in boys. That is the belief that they have. And there is where the bias begins. So this unfair share has to change somewhere or the other. If we are able to bring about a dent there and a big change there, we will be able to transform a lot of gender inequality which is happening around us. Now, again, that comes back to education, because again, education can make a major role, play a very major role in this, because if we educate the children properly, they will grow up to become good parents. And in many homes, we find even today that the gender inequality does not exist, but the percentage is less. We have to increase that percentage. So from the next generation, the example set at home by parents, caregivers, the extended family, they will shape up and will help in removing the gender inequality that we see. Early childhood is the key development period, where the children learn to begin about what is gender. So there is where we play a very important role. And if we can set that right, we would be finding a lot of difference in the world. This is what I wanted to say at this point.
थैंक यू मैम, काफी अच्छा और संभला हुआ जवाब था आपका उस पर। लेकिन फिर भी मैं कई बार ये देखता हूं कि हम लोग कई बार अपने पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस के बेसिस पर ओपिनियन बनाते हैं और रिपोर्ट्स को बिल्कुल नहीं देखते। जैसे यूएन की एक रिपोर्ट में था कि ग्लोबली गर्ल्स हैव हायर सर्वाइवल रेट्स एट बर्थ, बट इन इंडिया इज द ओनली कंट्री वेयर गर्ल्स डाई देन बॉयज, मतलब उसकी संख्या ज्यादा है डेथ की, जबकि वर्ल्ड लेवल पे ग्लोबली सर्वाइवल रेट बॉयज के कंपैरिजन में गर्ल्स का ज्यादा है। इसके अलावा एक और जो चीज थी वो ये, इवन गर्ल्स आर मोर ड्रॉप आउट्स ऑफ स्कूल। तो ये कुछ ऐसे कह सकते हो रिपोर्ट्स हैं जहां पर एट ए लार्ज देखने की जरूरत है, ना कि पर्सनल ओपिनियन या पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंसेस के बेसिस पे चीजों को। अब मेरा नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन होगा डॉक्टर प्रतिष्ठा विश्वास मैम से, जो कैलकाटा से कनेक्टेड है हमारे साथ। मैम, आपने सभी को सुना, और अगर वुमेन इन साइंस की बात करूं, ये भी एक रिपोर्ट है यूएन की, जिसमें 5 में से 1 कंट्री में ऐसा हो रहा है वुमेन इक्वेलिटी को लेकर कि वो जो जेंडर इक्वेलिटी है उसको अचीव कर रहे हैं, और उन्होंने उनके कंट्रीज में अप्रॉक्स 45% to 55% जो रिसर्चर्स हैं वो वुमेन हैं। तो ऐसा नहीं है कि चीजें नहीं हो रही हैं, ग्रोथ रेट स्लो है लेकिन वो हो रही हैं और एक दिन होंगी भी। आपसे मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि आप व्हाट मेक्स ए वुमेन स्ट्रेंथ, व्हाट मेक्स ए वुमेन स्ट्रांग, आप इसको कैसे देखते हैं? मतलब एक वुमेन को वो कौन सी चीजें हैं जो स्ट्रांग बनाती हैं? Pratita
Good
ma'am.
evening, Sandhya. Yes, am I audible?
Yes, audible ma'am.
Yes. Oh, yes. Thank you. So, good evening, Sandhya sir. First of all, I would like to congratulate you and as well as Saraswati College of Professional Studies, Ghaziabad, UP, for giving us the opportunity to express ourselves in this program or in this online program. At the same time, I have heard my co-panelists, they have given a quite strong view on the different aspects of women, women equality, as well as different aspects. So, मेरा जो मानना है, I will go back since my mother subject is history. I will first of all not tell you about the history. Everybody knows about the history, but you have asked about my opinion, or rather a holistic opinion of what makes a woman strong. So women basically was strong from the very inception. When we go from the time of Adam and Eve, we see that when we are going through the myths, हम ये देख सकते हैं कि the female was much intelligent. She was much cautious, and I am not neglecting the men folk, but definitely the women was more stronger in the mind. Okay. And when we go back to the 28th February UN resolution, that time also some of the females who were quite strong, they have come in a movement, और वो movement हम सब जानते हैं. Due to this, we are celebrating the International Women's Day, or rather the Women's Day in 8th March is celebrated as a whole. Now, कुछ चीजें हैं जो women को strong बनाते हैं. First of all, the patience. The patience level is something which is very important, and they feel that the patience is the key to the success. For example, जैसे I heard that Dr. Anita was telling about the female membership in the elite clubs. So, ma'am, I would like to say that it is also followed in Calcutta, but there is a different rule here. Like I am actually an example of that. Okay, since मेरा कोई brother नहीं है, इसलिए I automatically become the member. So this is the difference. And actually, एक patience के through से ये movement we connect through this movement, and women have a different aspect of bravery and courage. Through the courage, the women can basically overcome all the barriers, all the obstacles, and we have seen in the form of Mrs. Indira Gandhi, she has done a lot of things for women empowerment. Since sir has asked me about what makes a woman strong, I will go more into the social perspective rather than any other policies or anything. Another thing which we have seen over the years, we have seen in our role models, that is the confidence. A woman is actually very strong even if she is alone. That means basically women are social creatures. It is not that she is unsocial, but when she is being cornered, we see through a lot of political leaders, through a lot of social leaders, even when we go to a lot of andolans, or we go through a lot of movements, we see that women has been cornered in a very different level. And I am not going to elaborate about the male and the female equality or inequality, because I believe that behind every successful woman, there is also a man. Like we say the reverse, but if there is not any man, or if there is no Raja Ram Mohan Roy, if I am speaking about Bengal, or Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, then we wouldn't have seen that there shouldn't have been any widow remarriage. Speaking of history. And this coming back to women being very strong, women is someone who is constantly learning. Even we learn from our mothers. If we go back to the 20th century, 19th century, हमारा जो grandmother है, हमारा mothers है, we won't be expecting that most of them are not PhDs. But to tell you very frankly, that they have far more wisdom and knowledge more than us, I believe. Because some of the social aspects, some of the political aspects, which they have seen practically, that is something which is very much important to know. और एक चीज जो एक women को बहुत strong रखते हैं, which is the sense of organization and management. Just not speaking about totally in favor of women, though I am a woman, I believe that men are also good managers. But when it comes to managing an education and administration, I may be differed by many or contested, but in my 18 to 20 years of experience, जो मैंने देखा है, that when it comes to anger issues, anger management, resilience, so women being a principal or as an able administrator, they can tackle the situations in a proper manner. और उसके साथ जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल डेवलपमेंट है वो भी प्रॉपरली वो मैनेज कर सकते हैं. आई एम नॉट undermining men folk because men are also very good in their own managerial positions. But when we are going for the HR, educational administration, educational management, and when we are speaking about inclusive education, so inclusive education के बारे में हम बहुत बात कर चुके हैं. बहुत से सेमिनार्स, कॉन्फ्रेंस, अवेयरनेसेस बहुत से इंक्लूसिव एजुकेशन में होते हैं. लेकिन द calmness, द serenity as well as जो अच्छी तरह से हैंडल करना and making the environment in a very proper and cool and calm manner, this comes basically from women. And why we are basically differentiating the women folk by celebrating the International Women's Day. Because women itself, they know their self-worth. They know that she is very much strong and she doesn't accept anything which is basically a non-idealist thing. Most of the women don't do that because I am speaking in a total social angle. And he, a perfectionist person, वो हमेशा जो women है, she actually accepts the very much best, and she also believes in relationships. That also makes her very strong. अगर you are a perfect woman, you are a perfect women administrator, you can balance between your work life and your family life. It is very true that family life cravings comes much more. But the importance which a female can give to the fully, be it male, be it female, she has also the courage to step away. She can reconnect. She can connect, she can reconnect, and she can form a wholesome societal, cultural aspect so that it becomes a high quality of self-resilience, and she always deserves to be with good people. That makes her very strong. At the same time, I believe that her self-confidence, the self-confidence is her most important quality, and a woman can very easily ignore the negative elements because there are a lot of negative elements in our life, and the women does not actually quit. That is also one of the strengths of a woman. I believe that a woman can move on if she believes that it is true and proper for her, and it is better not to quit. And when she realizes that, she moves forward very much quickly and without regret. And that makes her quite strong, quite proper. And of course, the sense of patience. Patience is very important. I have seen that women are becoming a very good leader by becoming very much patient. And this type of patience makes her quite strong, quite independent, and she will be able to embrace those trends through the societal norms in a very proper way. From being a businesswoman to a compassionate homemaker, it is actually very important in each and every aspect. And the truth is that the women basically is very strong no matter what her profession or status is. Like our mothers are basically very strong. So these are some of the things I believe that which makes the women very much strong. Thank you, Sanjay.
थैंक यू मैम। इसी सीक्वेंस में जो मेरा नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है डॉक्टर श्वेता रानी से है, और अभी अनीता मैम ने भी एक एग्जाम्पल दिया था कि सिर्फ गर्ल्स हों, और आपने भी इसमें बोला तो वर्ल्ड एनर्जी काउंसिल चेयर्स में ओनली 4% फीमेल्स हैं। ये एक यूएन का डेटा है कि रिप्रेजेंटेशन या लीडरशिप, अगर हम एनर्जी कंजर्वेशन की बात करें, उससे रिलेटेड जो बॉडीज है उसमें फीमेल्स को का रिप्रेजेंटेशन कितना है वर्ल्ड लेवल पर, ओनली 4%। इवन अगर आप हिस्ट्री में उठा के देखोगे और ग्राउंड लेवल पर देखोगे तो सबसे ज्यादा जो काम नजर आएगा इवन छोटे छोटे घरों में भी, तो एनर्जी कंजर्वेशन को लेके, एनर्जी से जुड़ी चीजों को संभाल के रखना, उसे ठीक से इस्तेमाल करना, वो सारी चीजों में कहीं ना कहीं वुमेन बहुत अच्छे तरीके से इन्वॉल्व होती है। तो डॉक्टर श्वेता रानी से मेरा जो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है वो ये है कि हाउ वुमेन कैन प्ले की रोल इन द प्रोसेस ऑफ सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट। श्वेता मैम, यहाँ पर दो चीजें मैं चाहूंगा कि कुछ ऐसे अगर केस स्टडीज एग्जांपल्स भी आपके पास हों जहां पर ये नजर आए कि वुमेन कितने अच्छे से लीड कर रही हैं इन द फील्ड ऑफ एनर्जी कंजर्वेशन, और वो जिससे कि ये पता चले कि जो डेटा नजर आ रहा है और जो एक्चुअल में वर्क हो रहा है उसमें अच्छा खासा बायस्ड गैप है जो नहीं होना चाहिए। एक्चुअल में अपॉर्चुनिटीज ज्यादा मिलनी चाहिए और क्रिएट भी होनी चाहिए। ओवर टू डॉक्टर श्वेता मैम।
थैंक यू सो मच संजय सर, बहुत पर्टिनेंट क्वेश्चन है और ह्यूज डिस्पैरिटी, ह्यूज गैप है इस चीज में। जैसे आपने क्वेश्चन पूछा विमेन का क्या रोल है सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट में, या सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट में विमेन कितना कंट्रीब्यूट कर पाती हैं, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है अपने आप में। लेकिन ये जो सस्टेनेबल लिविंग या सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट का कॉन्सेप्ट तो काफी पुराना है, 1985 में आ चुका था, लेकिन जो रियल इसका प्रैक्टिस है लीडिंग अ सस्टेनेबल लाइफस्टाइल, ये हमने कोविड-19 के दौरान सीखा। क्योंकि ये कोविड-19 क्राइसिस हैज डिसरप्टेड द वर्ल्ड एनवायरमेंटली, कमर्शियली, इकोनॉमिकली एंड सोशली। स्पेशली जो पुअर सेक्शंस हैं, जो मार्जिनलाइज सेक्शंस हैं, और हम विमेन तो उसी पुअर सेक्शन में आते हैं, तो हम भी बहुत ज्यादा हिट हुए थे। तो वन कॉन्सिक्वेंस इज अनडिनाइबली पॉजिटिव, बहुत सारे नेगेटिव कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस थे इसके कोविड-19 के, लेकिन जो एक बहुत अच्छा पॉजिटिव कॉन्सिक्वेंस निकल के आ रहा है, इट हैज मोटिवेटेड अस टू लीव मोर सस्टेनेबल लाइफस्टाइल। हमने सीख लिया उस दौरान, और कहीं ना कहीं ये सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल को अचीव करने में हेल्प करेगा as far as we Indians are concerned. And you know, Dr. Sanjay, the women community is no exception to this, standing at the forefront, leading a sustainable lifestyle. Even मैं एक छोटा सा quote आपके सामने बताना चाहूंगी, जो it has been echoed by the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon at the Earth Institute's State of Planet meeting at Columbia University in New York way back in 2010. और उन्होंने बोला था women are the key to sustainable development, peace and security. 2010 में ही इस चीज को उन्होंने एको कर दिया था, और इस चीज को रियलाइज करते करते काफी समय लग गया, और अभी और भी 50-60 years, I don't know, maybe another 100 years it will take. So I will come to that also. एक एग्जाम्पल, बहुत अच्छा एग्जाम्पल जयपुर का मैंने ले रखा है, जो एक ग्राउंड लेवल पे है, आपके साथ उसको भी डिस्कस करूंगी। थोड़ा सा सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट में वुमेन क्या रोल है, एक नेचुरल एनवायरनमेंट, नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज एंड वाटर कंजर्वेशन, इन तीनों का एक अमालगमेशन के रूप में कुछ इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर करना चाहूंगी आपके साथ। सो वुमेन्स रिलेशन एंड एसोसिएशन टू नेचुरल एनवायरनमेंट इज समथिंग व्हिच इज हिस्टोरिकली वेरी वेरी यूनिक across regions and cultures of the world. जरूरी नहीं है स्पेसिफिक कल्चर में हो, आप डिफरेंट कल्चर्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड देख लीजिए, डिफरेंट रीजन्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड देख लीजिए, डिफरेंट कंट्रीज ऑफ द वर्ल्ड देख लीजिए, एंड नंबर ऑफ एग्जांपल्स आर देयर where you can find that women play critical roles in relation to their natural environment. Since our workload is often centered on managing natural resources, biodiversity and ecosystem, our experiences and perspectives are essential. बहुत जरूरी है, since हम उसी चीज से डील करते हैं, home to day to day activities हमारी nature के साथ रहती है as far as rural areas are concerned. तो हमारा जो experience है, जो हमारा indigenous knowledge है, जो हमारे perspectives है, वो बहुत जरूरी है जब आप सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट को प्लान करें, किसी पॉलिसी को एग्जीक्यूट करें, उसको फॉर्मुलेट करें एट एवरी लेवल, be it from top down या फिर bottom up approach. And why do we need? For a healthy planet for generations to come. So let me take natural resources में हम क्या contribute करते हैं. उस natural resources में ही पहले water की बात करेंगे, फिर हम energy पे आएंगे. So since we women are the chief resource managers for our families in many parts of the world, our engagement in remedies for and adaptation to climate change is very, very essential. बहुत जरूरी. Since historical times, we are playing a critical role in managing natural resources on family. If you take at community level, if you take at the society level, and almost all of them are affected by environmental degradation. I'm playing important role we play. In communities around the world, women manage water, we manage sources for fuel and food, as well as both forest and agricultural terrain. क्योंकि जो male counterparts हमारे हैं, उनको माना जाता है they are very vigorous, they are well sturdy, और masculine part है तो वो शायद खेतों में जाके और जुताई वगैरह कर सकते हैं, सीड्स को सैपलिंग बना सकते हैं, एंड देन जो इरिगेशन सिस्टम है वो कर सकते हैं. मैं एग्रीकल्चरल एरिया पे इसलिए फोकस कर रही हूँ बिकॉज इंडिया इज बेसिकली एन एग्रेरियन इकोनॉमी. और जो फीमेल काउंटर पार्ट्स है उनको टेंडर, उनको वीक, उनको सोफिस्टिकेटेड माना जाता है. तो घर के छोटे छोटे एक्टिविटीज के लिए या फिर एग्रीकल्चर से रिलेटेड भी जो बहुत मीनियल टाइप ऑफ जॉब्स होते हैं, जैसे पत्तों को चुनना या फिर बहुत दूर जाके पानी कलेक्ट करके घर के लिए खाना बनाने के लिए पानी लेके आना, इन सब रोल के लिए फीमेल्स को छोड़ दिया जाता है. बट जब ये रोल्स हम फीमेल परफॉर्म करते हैं तो वी आर वेरी क्लोज टू नेचर. नेचर से हम ज्यादा क्लोज हो जाते हैं एंड वी आर मच मोर एक्वेंटेड विद द काइंड ऑफ एनवायरमेंट दैट वी आर लिविंग इन. So एक डेटा है, women produce almost 60 to 80% of food in developing countries, while inheritance laws and local customs often prevent them from owning or leasing land and securing loans or insurance. अब आ गया है, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने ये सिस्टम पास कर दिया है कि जो भी लॉ ऑफ इनहेरिटेंस है या फिर सक्सेशन राइट्स है उसमें फीमेल्स का भी इक्वल रिप्रेजेंटेशन होगा लाइक देयर male counterparts. So from high level to the grassroots, हम high level की बात करें या grassroots level की बात करें, be it the 1992 UN Earth Summit हो या फिर India's का चिपको movement हो या फिर केनिया का Green Belt movement हो, all highlighted the role of women's voices and perspectives in sustainable development. Water की अगर बात करें तो in rural areas बहुत common scenario है इंडिया में. In most developing countries, women are the managers of water resources. Often walking miles, बहुत दूर तक हम जाते हैं. अगर राजस्थान के गांव में आप देखेंगे या फिर हर वो एरिया which are drought stricken, women, it is the women. आपने कभी किसी मेल काउंटर पार्ट्स को देखा है कि सर पे वो घड़े को रख करके और बहुत दूर तक पैदल चल के जाके और पानी कलेक्ट करके लाते हैं? नहीं. So we women often we walk miles to fetch water for basic household chores, क्योंकि जो household chores होते हैं वो women के पेरिफेरी में डाल दिया जाता है. In some parts of Africa, women and children spend 8 hours a day collecting just water. वहाँ पे तो situation और भी worse है. If you take the example of Kenya, if you take the example of Uganda, Tanzania, all are the eastern parts of Africa. But the proportion of rural women affected by water scarcity is estimated at 55% in Africa, 32% in Asia, and 45% in Latin American countries, which are mostly the Caribbean nations between North America and the साउथ अमेरिका. ये कुछ छोटे छोटे डेटा है जो मुझे लगा थोड़ा शेयर करने से यू विल गेट अ ग्लोबल पिक्चर. बट द आयरनी लाइज दैट डिस्पाइट आवर रिस्पांसिबिलिटी फॉर वाटर कलेक्शन एंड सैनिटेशन मैनेजमेंट, वी रेयरली पार्टिसिपेट इन डिसीजन मेकिंग व्हेन कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ फैसिलिटीज इन दिस प्लान. वाटर से रिलेटेड कोई भी कंस्ट्रक्शन करना है, डैम्स बनाना है, एनीथिंग, वाटर स्टोरेज, रिजर्वॉयर्स, हमारे डिसीजन को नहीं लिया जाता है या फिर वी आर नॉट गिवन अ चॉइस टू एक्सप्रेस आवर ओपिनियन. व्हेन वी आर द सोल मैनेजर्स, आई एम नॉट सेइंग एक्सक्लूसिव, बट यस, मेजॉरिटी वी आर द मैनेजर्स एंड लाइक कंट्रीब्यूटर्स टू दिस इंपॉर्टेंट प्राइम रिसोर्स. जब डिसीजन मेकिंग प्रोसेस आता है, वी आर जस्ट लेफ्ट एक्सक्लूडेड. one question that came to my mind while I was just catering to all these things, that are women more greener than men? और जब मैंने इसके ऊपर थोड़ा रिसर्च किया तो आई फाउंड, क्योंकि जब हम बात कर रहे हैं सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट की, तो कहीं ना कहीं द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ ग्रीन प्रैक्टिसेस कम्स इनटू माइंड। मैंने ये कंपेयर करने की कोशिश करी कि जब मेन और वुमेन को हम कंपेयर करते हैं तो जो कार्बन फुटप्रिंट्स है किसका कम है और कौन ज्यादा ग्रीन प्रैक्टिसेस को प्रमोट कर रहा है। So I have found a number of research, even 2 or 3 reports from United Nations also, and they have suggested, they have proved that women are generally greener than men. Yes, we have to admit it. Women have long surpassed men in the arena of environmental action across all age groups. ऐसा नहीं है कि एक specific age groups ही women की ऐसी हैं जो environmental protection या फिर sustainable lifestyle को promote करते हैं. No, there are even females who are 60 plus and they are promoting to environment. One very good example, just after 1 minute, I'm just going to discuss with you. Females, they tend to live a more eco-friendly lifestyle if you compare, because I'm making a comparison with men. I'm so sorry, but it is a glaring fact. Compared to men, women litter less, they recycle more and leave a smaller carbon footprint as compared to the male counterparts. And this practice has led to creation of a new geographical space. Since I'm a geographer, तो मैं थोड़ा space के ऊपर भी focus करती हूँ कि which kind of space they have created. And this is a new terminology that they are creating a eco-gender gap. That means a kind of greener practices that they're adopting, और उसके कारण जो gaps आ रहे हैं, जो widening आ रहा है, वो male और female के बीच में बहुत ज्यादा है. इसके पहले वाले discussion में हमने ये देखा कि फीमेल्स कंट्रीब्यूट लेस करती थी एज फार एज इकोनॉमिक वाज कंसर्न, और वो काफी नीचे थी, मेल्स ऊपर थे. बट आई एम सो सॉरी, यहाँ पे फीमेल्स आर सरपासिंग एज फार एज देयर कार्बन फुटप्रिंट्स आर कंसर्न. उनका कार्बन फुटप्रिंट कम है एंड दे आर मच मोर इको फ्रेंडली एज कंपेयर्ड टू मेल्स. नाउ व्हाट इज दिस इको जेंडर गैप? It is a kind of disparity between the ethical choices. Mind it, this is an ethical. आपका ethics क्या कहता है और उसके basis पे, nobody is forcing you. It's based on your moral consciousness. It's based on your ethics, your ethical choices कि आप कैसे एक sustainable lifestyle lead करते हैं. So this eco-gender gap is the disparity between the ethical choices made by men and women. And referring to most of the researches, United Nations ka research, I'm just like moved by it. This term reveals that men are likely to pursue environmentally friendly behaviors lesser than their female counterparts. In fact, in 2020, there was a study conducted and it has shown that 71% women try to live more ethically and environmental friendly as compared to their 59% of men. And in fact, women are doing more, men are doing less. फिर भी both of them are being equally affected. तो यहाँ पे भी कंपैरिजन करते हैं जब हर जगह कंपैरिजन हो रहा है. Let us have this also. There is one example जिसको मैंने नाम दिया है good practices in sustainable lifestyle, and it is a case study to Epitome. Epitome पे है, बहुत बढ़िया case study है. It's a college in Rajasthan जिसको नाम दिया गया है Barefoot College. Barefoot, bare मतलब नंगा, foot मतलब पैर, मतलब नंगे पैर वहां पे लोग जाते हैं. नंगा पैर is just indicating the level of poverty that these people, these rural women are facing. In spite of that, let us see what kind of contribution they are making to the society. So it is a revolution. I will term this Barefoot College a revolution that happened in the rural areas of Rajasthan. वैसे ही राजस्थान स्टेट हमारे दिमाग में आता है, सबसे पहला चीज जो याद आता है, it's a drier part of India. There is scanty rainfall and drought is very frequent, very frequent. So this revolution is very quiet. Much of the people are not aware about this. And what the rural women in these areas do, इसको college इसलिए कहते हैं क्योंकि यहाँ पे training दी जाती है. These rural women, they actually bring solar energy and clean technology to the poorest rural communities, changing the very face of rural development. Women and energy, how? What is the relation? There is a very great relation. बहुत ज़्यादा, they are very intimately related, associated. So at the forefront of this revolution, who are the main target? Target areas are the entire rural communities living in that particular district. But who are the owners? Kiske paas ye owners hai? Semi-literate and illiterate rural women from Asia, from Africa and Latin America. Ye तीनों are the three important, you can say, developing continents of the world. And many of them are grandmothers. जैसे ही grandmothers आता है, age is no restriction. 60 plus रहते हैं, who are trained to work as skilled solar engineers. Engineers भी कहा जाता है उनको, but they are not literate minded. तो फिर ये knowledge कहाँ से आ रहा है? This knowledge is based on their indigenous knowledge, since they are staying very close to the nature. So this college was founded in 1972. और basically इसका main aim था to provide clean water, to provide renewable energy and education and healthcare system to the entire community living in that particular area. Stable livelihood and women's empowerment are also among the major missions of this particular college. कैसे होता है इसमें? Solar energy एक important barefoot solution है, और women are the main like you can say workers, main engineers, especially the grandmothers, 60 plus. They are preferred candidates for solar engineer training. Why? Now, next question हमारे दिमाग में आता है, क्यों ये grandmothers को हम क्यों prefer कर रहे हैं? Because the area had trained men. ऐसा नहीं उस area में trained men की कमी थी, बिल्कुल नहीं. The area had well trained men.
Conclude कीजिएगा थोड़ा सा ना time. जी.
And these men took their training. इनके पास ट्रेनिंग बहुत अच्छी थी, लेकिन इन्होंने अपनी ट्रेनिंग को गांव के बाहर जाकर के काम करने में इस्तेमाल किया. तो गांव के अंदर कौन रह गई? Females with their old indigenous technologies. So it's quite interesting to note कि ये जो women है, ये बहुत attached थी अपने land से, और ये अपने गांव को छोड़ के जाना नहीं चाहती. They have a long history in their community and have less incentive to migrate. So this keeps the knowledge and technology. यहाँ पे knowledge और technology का बहुत अच्छा amalgamation हुआ, और इस project को उन्होंने execute किया, जिससे उस पूरे area में free of cost solar energy मिलता है, और जिसको अगर excess होता है तो they can also sold it out, और इसके basis पे पूरे communities में जो standard of living है वो improve हो गया. So this was one of the area that I had just tried to focus. इसके अलावा I have two important suggestions to make for all the women present here, not only here, all the women who are the present world women, how we can live a sustainable lifestyle. एक तो we can choose green and sustainable products. Green and sustainable products in everyday life हम उसको use कर सकते हैं. I know it's a bit costly, but when you will increase your demand, definitely at some point or the other उसका prices भी थोड़ा कम आएगा. And most important thing is that when we purchase green products, we feel good about supporting an eco-conscious company while drastically minimizing or totally eliminating the number of toxic chemicals used there. So in my summation discussion, I would like to focus that it's high time women's contribution to sustainable development must be recognized. The best thermometer to the progress of a nation is the treatment of its women. So let us treat our women very well. There is no chance for welfare of the world unless the condition of the women is improved. So I would like to exhort the women of today that in order to have a sustainable footprint, buy less, choose well, and make it best. The more we have less new, we will have less CO2, that is carbon dioxide. So we are here joining hands in hands, physically, socially, economically, and environmentally different from men. That is why we are called women. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Sanjay.
Thank you, Sweta ma'am. जितना भी कुछ आपने बताया, तो एक जो वुमेन का रोल है ग्रीन इकोनॉमी में, मेरे ख्याल से ठीक से लोगों को समझ में आना चाहिए, और एक जो सोसाइटी का परसेप्शनल चेंज है, क्योंकि जब तक परसेप्शनल चेंजेस नहीं आएंगे तो ये जो हम 4% और 3% देखते हैं, या एक मैंडेटरी लीडरशिप देखते हैं जब ऑप्शन नहीं होता, तो वो ऑप्शंस में तब्दील होना शुरू हो जाएंगे. थैंक यू मैम.
Thank you, sir.
मेरा नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है प्रोफेसर तान्या गुप्ता मैम से. वैसे तो तान्या मैम ने ये चीजें पहले भी बोली थी कि 50% ऑफ द वर्ल्ड्स वर्किंग एज वुमेन, यानी कि 15 इयर्स और अब जो एज है वो लेबर फोर्स में है, एज कंपेयर टू मैन जो कि 79% है वर्ल्ड में. इवन देन ग्लोबली वुमेन अर्न 24% लेस देन मैन. जो जो इशू है एड्रेस करने का वो ये है कि इतना, एक तो अपॉर्चुनिटीज ही कम मिल रही हैं, दूसरा जो अर्निंग का जो लेवल है वो भी एज कंपेयर टू मेन 24% कम है। तो क्वेश्चन मेरा ये है कि व्हाट इंस्टीट्यूशनल और सोशल चेंजेस नीड टू बी मेड फॉर वुमेन टू बी इकोनॉमिकली एम्पावर्ड। मैम, ओवर टू यू।
जी सर, जैसे भी आपने स्टैटिस्टिक्स ही बताए हैं, एंड व्हाट in fact I would like to congratulate Dr. Pratitha. She has picked up the sociological perspective that why women are strong, and इन्होंने जो characteristics of strong women बताए हैं कि they are confident, उनमें resilience होता है, and despite all these characteristics and struggles which Dr. Anita ji has focused, and now Dr. Shweta has also, talked about, even when we talk of green practices. So there is balance. Woman is balance, if I would say it in short, and women are confident. But yes, कुछ इस तरह के existing power structures हैं, खासतौर से एक पेट्रियार्कल सेटअप के अंदर अगर हम देखें, क्योंकि हम उसको बिल्कुल नजरअंदाज नहीं कर सकते. We just can't oversee and overlook the existing patriarchal hierarchy where women are still, considered subordinate to men, no matter वो कितने भी empower हो जाए. तो आप हम जितनी भी empowered discussion करें, हम बीट हो जाते हैं जो अवेलेबल स्टेटिस्टिकल डेटा है, जो एक ग्लेयरिंग कंसर्न दिखा रहा है कि डिस्पाइट द एफर्ट्स दैट वी आर मेकिंग अक्रॉस द ग्लोब, द सिचुएशंस हैव इम्प्रूव्ड बट देयर इज मच स्कोप. सो पे की अगर हम बात करते हैं, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इफ वी टॉक, आई वाज आल्सो गोइंग ऑन सर्टेन चैट्स दैट वर अपीयरिंग ऑन द यूट्यूब, अभी जो ये लाइव चल रहा है प्रोग्राम, and there are in fact people discussing about and acknowledging there through the comment box that yes, women are not equally paid. Let me give you a very very day to day, let's not talk of corporate, let us not talk about organizations where we are working as educators, let's talk about Bollywood only. मुझे suddenly बैठे बैठे Bollywood ध्यान आया. The kind of the salary for the work, utni hi daud dhoop, an actor who's a female, she's doing, and the same kind of effort is a male star, co-star doing, but then the kind of celebrity or the rates that they have are different. There is a huge difference there as well, because खास तौर से एक वो बहुत evident example है. Somewhere, there is a mindset that women are dependent. Even if you're fixing up a job in a scale, it is still considered that men are, breadwinners. They run the family, and therefore their pay packages need to be higher than women. The question that you are saying, what are the institutional and social, changes that we want to see, that women get more empowered, they make informed choices, वो अपने financial assets की देखरेख कर सकें, वो अपनी investments को manage कर सकें, ये सारी चीजें करने के लिए एक comprehensive और एक collective effort की जरूरत है. It can't happen with a very piecemeal approach. So the first and foremost thing which I feel, and it is also emergent out of lot of researches and lot of policy documents, when they conclude on what is the change that we expect, the first and foremost thing is, the education and training. This is very important, because economic empowerment and education doesn't mean that they have to go to schools only, or they have to have a PhD, or they have to have a degree. ये डॉक्टर प्रतीता ने भी बताया, जब ये कहा कि ये हमारी जो ग्रैंड मदर्स थी वो शायद बहुत अच्छी फाइनेंशियल रिसोर्स मैनेजमेंट करती थी, even without having very high qualifications. So it is all about the skills. So education and training, when I'm saying is important here, means that despite the fact of the routine kind of programs that women are pursuing, whether at their school or their higher education or their research level, there is also a requirement of financial literacy and financial rights. ये भी एक aspect है जो which should be a part of the learning process. We must know our financial rights, we must know about the property rights, we must know about investment policies and plans. बहुत कम घर होते हैं जहां महिलाएं इसमें बहुत रुचि लेती हैं कि how the share markets work or how you have to invest into policies, and it's generally they leave it on the men to do. So I feel first thing in the family, the role is that every man should ensure that his daughter, his wife, or in whatever relation they are, they make them financially empowered by helping them become more financially literate. मुझे लगता है कि ये बहुत important structural change है. Second is when we say we have a law which says equal pay for equal work, that is very much required. इसके साथ साथ जो जरूरी है वो ये भी जरूरी है that there are equal opportunities for promotion and for proving your worth. You cannot have a mindset ki these are few things which women cannot do, therefore they cannot be promoted and therefore they cannot lead. So that kind of a mindset needs to be changed, where they are given opportunities for advancement and they are given the same kind of benefits as men. This is the second thing which I feel which will empower women economically, and this is the responsibility of institutions and as well as the society. Third, I feel is because हमारा जो role है, जो women का, this is an accepted role and we love this role, that we are family oriented, we are resilient. Child rearing is a part of our being, our existence, and it is beautiful. The workplaces, the society, the institutions have to evolve, family and child related policies where women are, there are laws in place. Say, let's, for instance, we talk of the maternity leave. We talk of the paternal leave also, but बहुत सारी संस्थान हैं आज भी जो ये leaves नहीं देती. We know the grim realities. Women are not given maternity leave. They have to go without pay. And they do go without pay because for them, the first and foremost thing is to take care of the child and to get out of the period after they have delivered a baby. So they generally go out of the pay or the promotions, or sometimes they take a service break as well. So we know the existing practices. So ये policies जो exist कर रही हैं, ये ground level पे, institutional level पे, societal level पे implement हो, ये बहुत जरूरी है. Also, about childcare and family friendly policies that I'm referring, it is not only about the leave, but it is also about providing certain flexible hours of work in certain conditions where it can be. We should provide women this flexible conditions of work if possible. And childcare services would, I think, be very important. And if institutions, organizations can provide women at affordable rates these childcare services, so this becomes a very big support, a mental support for the woman to continue, in her job, in her career, in her profession. Because we see most of the times women drop out of jobs when they're not able to look after their family. Before anyone else says this to the woman herself feels that she feels guilty that she's not able to take care of her family. So if this kind of a support, and then we also have women who are single mothers. We also have women who do not have any kind of support. So where will they leave their children? Now with the joint families deteriorating, there is no support. So where do women leave their children? So I feel this is one more initiative which is required. Next is at the institutional and societal level, we have to address very strongly to the gender-based discrimination. So any form of discrimination, whether it is in the basis of recruitment, it is on the basis of promotion, it is in terms of the pay gap, or it is in the form of any form of harassment. we have to really work very strong on these aspects so that the environment is enabling for women to continue and remain economically empowered. Next is, as I have already mentioned, they must have access to financial resources. So enhancing facilities for credit, for loans, for investment opportunities, so that they become financially independent. Because when women become financially independent and they become economically empowered, the dynamics of the power, the patriarchy, the hierarchy changes. When the dependency, the financial dependency changes, the dynamics also change. So there has to be, more access to financial resources. As you have already mentioned, कि एक mindset है. So we have to address to the cultural and social norms, the belief systems that exist, which still restrict the women, to do their best, to achieve their potential. This can be done through education and awareness raising campaigns. So it's not very important really to empower women. It is very important to teach men how to handle empowered women. I think that is very important. The men need to learn how to handle the empowered women. वो एक बहुत अहम मुद्दा है जो मुझे लगता है जरूरी है. Political representation, as I would say, madam, all the panelists have said that women are underrepresented in the decision making. They're not into strategic positions, though of course things are improving. But yes, we need to see that their voices are heard and they become participant to decision making. Last but not least, I feel together as a government, as a civil society, as a part of the private sector, or maybe at the most important at the family level, also we need to make as a collective effort. Besides all these points that I've said, I feel, as we all know, this year's theme for International Women's Day is Digital. Today, if we are all connected, we are connected and we are able to do this is because of we are connected digitally. And like ma'am has say, Dr. Shweta has talked about green practices or go green, or Dr. Pratitha has talked about certain things. Dr. Anita ji has talked about certain things. I'm talking of the economic aspect. The digital power makes women very much independent. अगर आपको अपनी reproductive health के बारे में जानना है, अगर आपको sustainable practices के बारे में जानना है, अपने आप को educate करना है, किसी भी area में अगर आप देखें, digital literacy is very important, and being very digitally empowered today is the requirement. It is the requirement of today. And there are many women who have no access to this digital literacy and digital, and there is a huge digital divide. So I feel access to technology, as access to digital tools will help women to, not only become economically empowered, but also it will empower them in terms of their legal rights, in terms of their own reproductive rights. They will know about the kind of, it connects them to the world about what is happening and what is right and what is wrong. So I think the last point which I would feel is, as an institution, as a society, is we need to create more and more opportunities for women to have more ICT enabled and digital living, where they can, exercise their control, and they can manage their resources, they can become entrepreneurs, they can work online, offline. I mean, whatever ways, there can be a lot of women who are housewives, but they can work from home and they can add income. We know there are a lot of women who are doing so many things from home. So digital access, I think, becomes a very empowering way of enhancing economic support to the women. So these are a few points I feel if we can do it together collectively, as a government, as a civil society, as a private sector, as a society, I think that the statistics globally will improve in a much better way. Yes, sir.
थैंक यू सो मच तानिया मैम, आपने काफी सारी चीजों को डिस्कस किया अपनी में। जॉइंट फैमिली से न्यूक्लियर फैमिली में एक चेंज आने में, जब सोशल स्ट्रक्चर चेंज हुआ, वर्क स्ट्रक्चर चेंज हुआ, जिसकी वजह से जो ये वुमेन फ्रेंडली एनवायरनमेंट या वुमेन वेलफेयर पॉलिसीज, फैमिली वेलफेयर पॉलिसीज या चाइल्ड केयर सर्विसेज की बात आपने की, डेफिनेटली आज के टाइम में ये ऑप्शंस नहीं है, मैंडेटरी नीड है। मेरा नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है डॉक्टर प्रतिटा मैडम से, एंड माय क्वेश्चन इज, यूनाइटेड नेशंस कहता है कि विदाउट वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट एंड जेंडर इक्वालिटी सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट इज नॉट पॉसिबल। तो मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि इज द लैक ऑफ एम्पावरमेंट एन इक्वालिटी इशू और एन इक्विटी इशू? ओवर टू यू मैम।
Yes, thank you. Just a minute.
प्रतिष्ठा मैम, आपको एक सिस्टम को ना बंद करना
I
पड़ेगा, otherwise ना
think
नहीं
that
चल
this is actually a very tricky question, but definitely it is something which is very much interrelated to certain aspects. First of all, हमको ये देखना है that what is gender equity and what is gender equality. Difference actually इन दोनों का क्या है? First of all, ये हमको जानना है, and we all are very much learned persons. We know these things well, but still I would like to revisit the definitions. And I believe that equity is basically fairness and justice. Giving fairness and justice to both the men folk as well as to women folk. And अभी हाल ही में और एक मुद्दा मुझे, it is not related to men, not related to women, but it is related to our inclusivity, which I will definitely ponder upon, which is actually the LGBTQ concept. Not the LGBTQ, actually the LGBTQ plus concept. You can, lot of things are cropping up. Only LGBTQ अभी नहीं है, this is also plus. So जब हम gender equity के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, we should be also focusing upon the inclusivity of all these items and highlighting about the fairness and justice. Let me give you an example. In West Bengal, there was a principal who was basically a male. I don't know, many of you must be knowing if you are reading. So he was actually someone who was born a male. So later he had to fight a lot, and then he had some feminine instincts. And if you go through the Google search, you will be finding that now he has become Dr. Miss Manavi Bandyopadhyay. Okay. Now this is something people laugh upon, but he was the principal during that time, and due to the fairness or equity, whatever you say, he has actually now rejoined again as the principal of the government college. And you can see in the Google search that he is the principal of Dhola Mahavidyalaya. So this is something which speaks of gender equity. And gender equality, Sanjay sir, I believe it is more related to equality. That means feminist aspects. जो men और women है, women empowerment है, different sites हम cite कर सकते हैं. Actually रात बीत जाएगी हम अगर women के ऊपर बात करते हैं, तो this panel discussion will not, the timing will not suffice. I can go on and on. Because हम लोग जो women empowerment के बारे में बहुत सी बात कर चुके हैं, एक चीज तो है कि women basically are unequally dragging the women in a very different way. अभी कुछ women को आगे बढ़ाना चाहते हैं, that is true. But अगर हम statistics के बारे में बात करते हैं, तो हम बहुत अच्छी तरह से जानते हैं कि inequality एक्चुअली वीमेन के पास से शुरू होती है. In a house, when there is, it is a very common example. अगर कोई सास है, बहू है, हम जानते हैं कि when we are speaking about equality in a social and cultural perspective, तो inequality हम कहाँ से लाएंगे? Actually, अगर कोई senior person है जो actually हमको equal बनाना चाहते हैं, हम तो roots से जाएंगे. तो अगर वो नहीं चाहते हैं कि हम इक्वल हो, एंड इन सोसाइटीज वी नो वेरी वेल कि कुछ चीज है लाइक फेयर एंड लवली एड. हम कुछ एग्जांपल्स देंगे क्योंकि बहुत से स्टैटिस्टिक्स, बहुत से पॉपुलेशन और बहुत से चर्चा हम कर सकते हैं, लेकिन कुछ अगर एग्जांपल देंगे तो साधारण कुछ जो दर्शक है उसको समझ में शायद आ सकते हैं कि fair and lovely ad actually is a big example of gender equality. Why fair and अभी जब women International Women's Day में बहुत चर्चे कर रहे हैं, बहुत से चीज डिस्कशन कर रहे हैं, तब जाके फेयर एंड लवली जो एड बनाते हैं तो मेल का एक वर्जन निकाला था. तो वो क्यों निकाला था? बिकॉज कुछ फीमेल्स ने प्रोटेस्ट किया था. जब हम कुछ शैम्पूस के बारे में बात करते हैं, अभी कुछ मेल का हम दिखाई देता है, दैट इज ट्रू. बट अगर हम जाते हैं 80s या 90s, आप देखिए कि दैट इज मोर रिलेटेड टू वीमेन. सो दिस एक्चुअली इज इनइक्वल फीलिंग. व्हाई वी आर ओनली स्ट्रेसिंग अबाउट वीमेन? मेन का भी कुछ हक है. जैसे तानिया मैम ने ऑलरेडी बोला है कि एवरीवन इज नॉट एक्चुअली ड्रैगिंग द वीमेन, एवरी मैन इज नॉट ड्रैगिंग द वीमेन. जैसे कुछ एमिनेंट पर्सनालिटीज है, दे आर ट्राइंग टू पुट फॉरवर्ड द वीमेन इन अ वेरी प्रॉपर मैनर. ठीक है, लेकिन अगर मेरे पापा और अगर मेरे भाई मुझे जेंडर इक्वालिटी के बारे में अगर मैं बात करूं, अगर मैं चाहती हूं कि मैं उन लोगों को सरपास कर जाऊं, so I believe that that is not equality. It is not a very proper way to proving my rights does not mean that I become a totally feministic person. एक व्यूज जो है कि हम फेमिनिस्ट हैं, हम फेमिनिस्ट बनना चाहते हैं, या इनहेरेंटली वो मेरे अंदर है. तो कुछ हमको एक्सपीरियंस मेरा ये है कि कुछ दिखाना चाहते हैं कि आई एम अ फेमिनिस्ट, लेकिन मे बी दोस विमेन और विमेन folk has got a lot of assistance from the household men और उसके भाई या पापा के पास से, लेकिन they try to prove that they are becoming unequal, so they should become a feminist. So मुझे लगता है कि जेंडर इक्विटी और जेंडर इक्वालिटी ये दोनों एस्पेक्ट है which actually we should study in a very proper way to prove, or rather we should not prove, we should keep it in our minds that gender inequality is actually not a term. This is actually in our minds which is going on for a lot of many years. क्योंकि ये जो inequality है, ये inequality actually तभी हम पोषण कर सकते हैं जब we are not keeping hand in hand. हमको एक साथ चलना है, हमको एक साथ we have to run actually. अभी तो मैम ने भी कहा है that digitalized world. We are now in a digitalized world. आजकल बच्चे जो 10-12 डेज का जो बच्चे हैं, हम जानते हैं कि उनका पोस्चर अभी डिफरेंट है. एक साल पहले अगर हम देखते थे तो हम देखते थे कि बच्चे मूव नहीं कर सकते, अभी बच्चे विद इन 2 months मूव कर सकते हैं. So that is actually the generation Z. So through the equality issues and as well as the equity issues, which gives a knowledge about the fairness, justice and rights, I believe that uniformly men and women should move on together in a better equal manner. And my conclusion is that without Swami Vivekananda, we shouldn't have known Sarada Ma, because here Ramakrishna mission is very much followed. And at the same time, without Sharada Ma's different divine knowledge, we wouldn't have known Swami Vivekananda. So this is vice versa. So equality, inequality, as well as the different terms, we keep it in our minds in an inherent way to prove ourselves. Why should we the women prove ourselves? हमको कुछ प्रूव नहीं करना है, हम वैसे ही बहुत परफेक्ट है एंड पर्टिकुलर है. I believe that we are very much creative, we are very much fair, we are quite knowledgeable, और हमको कुछ प्रूव नहीं करना है, and we should have to go hand in hand with all the stratas of the society, be it male, be it female, be it the concept of LGBTQ. Let us make this society an inclusive society, an inclusive place, where there are a lot of, among all the inequalities, we find equality. Thank you so much.
जी, थैंक यू मैम. आज के डिस्कशन की सबसे खूबसूरत बात यही रही अभी तक देखूं मैं तो, इनइक्वालिटी को लेके विमेन को भी रेस्पॉन्सिबल ठहराया आप लोगों ने. जितना भी डिस्कशन हुआ, मतलब इसमें ऐसा नहीं था. अक्सर मैं देखता हूँ कि जब इस तरह के इश्यूज पे डिस्कशन होता है तो वो मैन वुमेन वाली टू पार्टीज हो जाती है और फिर डिस्कशन, तो वैसा कुछ अभी तक मुझे नजर नहीं आया. एक अलग लेवल पे डिस्कशन हुआ तो बहुत अच्छी बात है. एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन, क्योंकि वो मैंने डॉक्टर अनीता मैम के लिए बचा के रखा था, सोशल एस्पेक्ट से रिलेटेड है और मेल मेंबर्स से रिलेटेड है. लास्ट क्वेश्चन है. क्वेश्चन मेरा ये था कि ये तो हम सब ने देखा चीजें चेंज हुई हैं और फीमेल्स ने विमेन ने बाहर जाके काम करना शुरू किया है और बाहर की रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज को अच्छे से निभाया भी है. अभी क्या है, और अब इसमें रिपोर्ट्स भी आती हैं कि वो अच्छे से अपने बाहर भी देख रही हैं और वो घर को भी देख रही हैं. लेकिन एक जो इमीडिएट नीड है, चेंज है, वो मेल मेंबर्स में कि उनको कैसे इंस्पायर किया जाए कि जब अब रोल बदल चुका है तो तुम्हारा भी एक रोल कहीं ना कहीं घर में शुरू हो जाता है. वो माइंडसेट कैसे चेंज किया जाए. डॉक्टर अनीता मैम.
Thank you, sir. All my co-panelists have talked about women empowerment, women rights, change in the women's workplace, women's perspective, you know. All this big change has occurred, you know, from the past century, is all because we have had definitely some good male allies. It could not have happened without male allies. So I must congratulate Sanjay sir, you know, for being on this forum, you know, as a male ally for all of us. Thank you to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
And if we look around the world, we have had so many, you know, national reforms which have been enacted in the recent years and improved the status of women to a certain extent. All this has happened because somewhere down the line, where we were living in a male-dominant society, changes were there. And naturally, there were male members who were in support with us, so we got this change. If we go back down, there was a time when women did not have right to vote before the First World War. Except a few countries like Australia and UK and some few countries which had the voting right. It was only after World War I that, you know, many countries started this, that they gave women right to vote. And the United Nations Commission on Human Rights made this an international law. So somewhere there were some people in the other gender which helped us achieve this. So I must thank all the male allies all around the world who have made us achieve these laws that they made, you know. But sir has given me a very specific question and it talks about male allies at home. So I will keep my talk only till home. See, male allies can support the progress towards gender parity by working proactively. They can bring about an influence in changing behavior in their own circles. Let's come to very specific and let's come to home. I'll just quote very simple example. At the home, where women have a say, we always find that their voice are amplified. Women perspective is listened to, their experience are acknowledged. And, whatever we are doing, we are supported wholly and completely. And that is why we have been able to achieve what we are achieving today in our own respective fields, in our own respective areas. So what we need to do is we need to now increase that percentage of male allies around us. We have to, the male allies who are already with us, they need to educate their peers. They need to influence other men to take that same role. The more men taking this role, the more support we will get. They must respect our space. They must give credit to our new ideas or any idea that we give. And as Professor Tanya mentioned, support in financial independence. That's very important. No matter where we are, at what levels we are, if we go back home and see our financial independence, then we find somewhere down the line we are lacking. So we need that too. And that can come from the home. Along with this particular question, I was posed two more small questions about how to engage the male members in the house and how to inspire them. Now, again, that becomes our role as women, that we need to do something, how to inspire them. Generally, it is seen in the house that male members do want to change, do want to bring about a lot of changes in their perspectives, but they're unable to do so because we do not engage them. In many homes, see, the women is going for a job, coming back, and she only wants to take care of the house, the household work, etc., etc., etc. She doesn't want to leave it to the men. We must leave it to the men. So how do we do that? How do we engage them? We must sit with them. We must talk to them. We must sit together, make a list of the household chores that we have to do, and list them out. Okay, this is yours and this is mine. I'll do this. I'll help you out like this, and you help me out like this. So if we define that, so that would make things much more easier. And then we can do a lot of things together also. If you see abroad, you will find men having a particular role and they're doing things together. Then as far as caring for the children were concerned, somebody mentioned in the panelist that the kids' job is normally a mother's job. It is taken for granted. So that responsibility also should be shared equally in the household. If we engage them in this few 4-5 factors, we would be able to, have more male allies in the near future. And coming to inspiring them. Now, inspiring them takes a very little thing, very small things I would share. For example, if the male members are doing something for us in the house, the least we can do is appreciate them. Just say a small thank you, or give them a small rosebud or a flower or anything, small little gift or small little chocolate. In any way we can appreciate them. These are very small things which we generally forget in our day-to-day life. We remember this when our kids are concerned, but not where our supportive male members are concerned. We should be loving when they are helping us. We should show them their proper respect. Generally what happens, somebody laughs at the male members. Oh, you're doing this? That should not happen. If that respect is there, then you will find male members more inspired to do that kind of work. Then stop complaining. We generally have a habit of nagging and complaining. No matter how much the person may be supportive. We constantly say, no, you can do this also, you can do much more. I think we should be satisfied to begin with a little, and then carry on, gradually to ask for a little more. And never we should be judgmental. If we are not judgmental, then we can inspire them. The elders of the family have to take care of this, especially, So if that is there, then we can inspire them. And we must control our anger and as well as irritation. There are various places where we get irritated. So these are the things, if we avoid them, then we will be able to inspire the male allies, And we need their support no matter what. Transformation can only come if we have their full unconditional support to all of us. So that's very, very important. So when everyone plays a part in standing up for gender equality, we can create a just and an equal world where no one is held back by restrictive gender norms, That is how we can transform the attitudes towards gender. So this is all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. मेरा बड़ा अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस रहा आज के पैनल डिस्कशन का. मतलब अगर मैं अपना पीछे का एक्सपीरियंस देखूं तो वन ऑफ द बेस्ट पैनल डिस्कशन रहा. और मुझे इसमें सबसे अच्छी बात ये लगी कि किसी भी तरह का जो एक बायास्ड होना होता है ना किसी चीज को लेके, वो नहीं था. हमने कोशिश की चीजों को समझने की, उन गैप्स को फाइंड आउट करने की, और सोसाइटी के लेवल पे, कम्युनिटी के लेवल पे उनको किस तरह से इम्प्रूव किया जा सकता है और इंक्लूसिव बना के चीजों को आगे जो डेटा आता है यूएन की तरफ से हमारे पास, उसको इंक्रीज किया जा सकता है. सो थैंक यू सो मच प्रोफेसर तान्या गुप्ता मैम, डॉक्टर श्वेता मैम, डॉक्टर प्रतिटा मैम, डॉक्टर अनीता मैम. इसके अलावा मैम अप्रॉक्स 25 या मोर देन 25 स्टेट से अलग अलग 175 के आसपास थे मैक्सिमम जो पार्टिसिपेंट्स थे. उसमें से कुछ फिर बीच में कम भी हुए, लेकिन 160 पार्टिसिपेंट्स ऐसे थे जिन्होंने आपका पूरा सेशन बहुत अच्छे से सुना. और इस तरह के सेशन जो मुझे लगता है ना एक सोशल मेडिसिन का काम करते हैं. जब हम बात करते हैं ना कि एक परसेप्शनल चेंज आना चाहिए, क्योंकि इस तरह के डिस्कशंस का जो पर्पस होता है वही होता है कि एक थॉट में चेंज आए और वो फिर एक्शन में लाए कहीं ना कहीं. तो वो मैं समझता हूँ कि आज के सेशन ने पूरा किया है. थैंक यू सो मच.
डॉक्टर संजय, मैं एक बात शेयर करना चाहूंगी.
जी मैम बताइए.
अभी मतलब बिल्कुल रिसेंट अभी का है, जैसे ये पैनल डिस्कशन चल रहा था एंड 8:30 क्रॉस कर गया. I was of the opinion खत्म हो जाएगा, then I'll go, I'll prepare dinner for my kids. Even my son is not well, he is down with fever. तो मैंने बीच में थोड़ी देर के लिए वीडियो ऑफ किया, अपने हस्बैंड को कॉल किया एंड आई आस्क्ड हिम, सेशन तो अभी टाइम लगेगा, नाउ व्हाट टू डू, डिनर प्रिपेयर करना है. So he said, you just relaxed, concentrate, I'm there ना, I'll take care, I'll prepare the dinner, मैं दोनों बच्चों को खिला के ला दूंगा. So this was the kind of support that almost all the females like us that we get. तभी तो हम यहाँ पर ये टाइम डिवोट कर पा रहे हैं, 1 घंटे 2 घंटे. ये जो डिस्कशन हम कर रहे हैं, ये कहीं ना कहीं बैक हैंड सपोर्ट मिल रहा है हमें. तो जैसे अनीता मैम ने बोला, soon after getting over with this session, I'm going to go out, I'm going to give him a big hug, a big thanks, and definitely मैम एक रोज पक्का है, कल खरीद के बिल्कुल देना है. So this is a kind of reward that all of us must give to our male counterparts. It's because of them that हम आज इस पोजीशन पे हैं, इस पैनल डिस्कशन में पार्टिसिपेट कर पा रहे हैं. एक वो सपोर्ट नहीं मिल पाता. एंड यस, सपोर्ट एंड बिग थैंक्स टू डॉक्टर संजय जिन्होंने ऑर्गेनाइज किया और हमें ये अपॉर्चुनिटी दी जहाँ पे वी कैन एक्सप्रेस आवर ओपिनियन रिलेटेड विद दिस इम्पोर्टेंट थीम, जहाँ पे हम बात करते हैं विमेन इक्वालिटी की, बट जैसे ही वो इक्वालिटी आता है मेल्स को भी उसमें इंक्लूड करते हैं एंड हमारे पीछे वो खड़े हैं हमेशा. So it's there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank you, Dr. Shweta. You have taken my suggestion so well. I'm so happy, so glad to hear this. I'm going to.
And Sanjay ji, we also should be very much thankful to you because basically you are the one who has spearheaded this, and you have been as an equal partner to all of us.
Thank you,
So for
madam. Thank
that,
you so
a
much.
big congratulations to you. I should say a big clap to you and SCPS for organizing.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you all the co-panelists. Every day is a learning day. So आज मैंने भी बहुत कुछ जाना, बहुत कुछ सीखा. So that is something which is also my takeaway for today or tonight. Thank you.